Hello and welcome to the Yorkshire Podcast Studios podcast once again with myself, David Easson, and James Buttler.
Hello.
And we're going to answer some questions from the podding game here from Studio 4 in Yorkshire Podcast Studios, one of the couple of sets we've got in Studio 4. James, what are we talking about today?
Well, we've had a couple of people say to us recently, and it really struck a chord with me, that when they have been to a conference and they've given a speech, when they've been on the radio, been on the television, however they've reached the public, they've struck a chord, they've engaged with that audience, and then that...
In front of real people.
Yeah, in front of real people.
Yeah.
But then some of those real people have gone off home, they've trogged off home, they've got onto their laptops or PCs and thought, let's find out more about that person, gone onto that person's website, and there's not a trace of the
Not a dicky bird.
pixie dust that they sprinkled on the conference. None of that exists on the website. And that is why podcasting is so important to a business, to a brand, to an individual that's trying to get their message out there. So that what you're actually saying, you spend a lot of time probably writing your speech for a conference. You probably, because you don't want to embarrass yourself. You're on that stage, you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of those people. You need to spend the same amount of time getting your message out across your website, across your socials, across your podcasts, so that everything's consistent.
So basically the question is your website dull?
Some people say no.
Too many words, not enough faces. That's West End Girls, isn't it? Too many words and too much text. Not enough of you about it, really. You've made your website, you've made your company. There's a lot of you in it. You're putting yourself out there as much as you can. But actually, when someone arrives onto your website, what do they see? They see stock images, not of you. They don't see any video. They might see some moving images, but again, not of you. How are you selling your website so that when someone arrives on your website and they've got that, 3 to 5 seconds, they say your website's got to be, that's where you got to grab them, 3 to 5 seconds. Can you do that? Are you talking to them effectively?
The thing about that, though, Dave, is the people we've spoken to, those people actually wanted to go onto that site because they were already interested. You've got that audience. It's somebody that's already been engaged with, who has been excited by what that person said, but they've gone on the website and immediately thought, well, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I thought I was going to get. So you need to follow up those public appearances, follow up what you're saying to people, maybe at seminars, at wherever you meet people, so that if they come onto your website to find out a bit more about you, they're getting the same kind of messages.
And what a bonus, actually, for this client of ours who came in last week and said, it's like an epiphanal moment. I thought I was doing so well. And he is still doing really well when he's doing his public appearances. But actually, he's falling down in a really key area. And what was the answer to that? Well, very quickly, it wasn't just podcasting, it was video content created in this very studio. We got him in, we said, right, what are the 5-6 things that you need to really get across on your website? What's missing? In fact, have a look at your website. There might even be a video-sized space that's just aching to be filled with a lovely piece of video content. And we went through the website, we found, I think, 5 messages. In fact, it came from his talking, came from his speaking to the public, his speaking to podcasts as well he'd been on. It came from a PowerPoint that he'd done as well. And he made that his own just by talking to camera. Tricky doing it down the camera, but if you can talk to a room full of 500 people, you can talk to one camera and engage with the more than 500 people behind that camera effectively.
There's all sorts of different ways you get that content out to people's eyeballs and into their ears. You've got the 16:9, which is your landscape, which is traditional kind of TV screen podcast. You've got your 9:16, which is basically a taller one. It's basically the portrait image there. You can clip out your images from your podcast on that and get them out across your X feeds and your Instagrams and what have you. So there's all of these different ways that you can actually use the content you record. So you come in and record maybe 30 or 40 minutes of a podcast, maybe even less if you want to do it in a more bite-sized format. But then you can even clip out just a minute, 40 seconds or whatever you've said that maybe just hits that mark and gets out there and just interests somebody. You'll find as well that podcasts, you stick them on your YouTube, you put them out as audio format, you will get probably more of an audience for your clips because people are lazy. People just kind of scroll through their YouTube, they scroll through their Instagram, they'll see your face, they'll say, well, let's see what that person's got to say. Probably far more likely to give you 30 seconds of their time than they are to give you 40 minutes of their time.
the secret is not to get it down to really, really bite-sized material, either is it? Because you can do that too much. You can make it too bite-sized. Actually, it comes from the genuine conversations, which podcasts are. This isn't really a genuine conversation because we're talking to you like a presentation. But if we had a chat here and made it the podcast, the video podcast, and if we were engaging, James, imagine.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to,
we were interesting and engaging, and you could listen to our conversation.
Yeah.
The little snippets that you take just from the human interaction work so much better, because that's what happens when you're in those rooms.
Yeah.
What happens when he's on those podcasts is that those clips just kind of organically come through. You will have those buzzwords, you'll have those phrases that you want to get across. You don't have to have them scripted. In fact, the worst thing is to have them scripted.
If you have something scripted and you are trying to hit those marks of maybe creating a minute-long segment on each thing as part of a longer conversation, it's going to look like it. That's going to look really false. Having the conversation, just talking about that subject, you know about your subject, you're enthusiastic, you're informed, you're talking to somebody else that's in the same boat, you're interested in what they've got to say, and vice versa. And then you'll find that those little kind of 2 minutes, 1 minute 40, 1 minute clips are just naturally there.
Yeah, one client we had in a while back came in with 12 scripts, and he wanted to read every script word for word.
Yeah.
And he hadn't really read the scripts. But as I said to him, well, you've got 12 points there you want to get across in your business. It's your business. You've created this business. You know what you're talking about. So just kind of talk around them. What's the point you're trying to get across here? And he couldn't.
Yeah.
He said, well, I've written it out. But hold on, you're a business person and you've got 12, the 12 kind of totemic things you want to talk about. Surely you can talk about these. You can't get in your head that you've got to say exactly the same thing every single time, because you wouldn't do that if you met someone in a lift or in a hotel lobby or at a meeting, a networking meeting. What do? What are the main points you want to get across here? If there's a buzz phrase you want to get across, fine, drop that in. You'll have it there. Everything else is all in your head because it's all you. And if you say it out loud, it makes you the human being that you are.
Yeah. If you're doing that elevator pitch, or if you're in front of the Dragon's Den, or if you're talking to Alan Sugar on The Apprentice or whatever you're doing, you're not going to say it word for word. You might even stumble every now and again. But you're speaking from the heart. You're speaking from your brain. You're speaking from what you know about. And if you're doing a presentation to people, and you've got 3 sheets of A4 to get across, you don't memorise 3 sheets of A4. You've probably got a card with the bullet points. And that's all you need, isn't it? Because you know what those bullet points mean.
Yeah, you mentioned Dragon's Den. You can always tell when someone has completely memorised a script, because it just doesn't sound like them. And when they actually have the conversation and they get the questions asked of them, that's when the human being comes out, and that's when they really make the connection with one of the or more of the dragons.
It makes me laugh because hi, I am James, and I'm the such and such at Yorkshire Podcast Studios, and this is, and then he's kind of like,
insert name here.
Yeah, and it's very, very kind of almost like children's TV, isn't it, when they're doing it like that?
That's horrible.
Yeah.
It's much better when they're on the back foot a bit and they've had to, if they've got their numbers right, they go, got through that. But actually you can talk a lot more about your business and it's the stories that get across. And maybe we stumbled upon Dragon's Den here as an exact ideal replica of what you need to be thinking about. The point where the dragons go, I'm going to invest in you as a person, is when they reveal who they are.
I was just thinking back to the conference scenario where you may have given a keynote speech at a conference, whatever it is, or you talked to a seminar, or you've been in a room networking and people have heard you talk. You've got that. You've obviously kind of lit a fire with somebody because they've come to find out about you and they've come to find out about how you operate, and they want to hear the same again and maybe a bit more. So you've basically just got to kind of paint yourself across your website, and the podcast and the clips and the writing that can come from that as well, because it's all content, is a great way of doing that. It kind of You've got enough there. Obviously, if you've excited a few people, you can excite a lot more through your website. So
it's short, sharp, not too sharp video that in those first 5 to 10 seconds when someone's on the website, they can go, I'm going to click this, I'm going to have a go, see what this is about and who this company is all about, because you don't want to be Faceless Corporation 101. You want to be your company. You want to be you as that business person. And if you come into Yorkshire Podcast Studios, we've got so many sets here, and the cameras are great, the setups are great, the producers are great, the owners are great, and we enjoy being part of it. Maybe not kind of as I was at that point, lying down with a script on a clipboard while someone tries to read it. I got a bit angry that day, but don't tell him.
You were lying down on the floor, were you?
Yeah, because he was sitting down, and
I wish I'd been in that
He
day.
wanted me to be there with the clipboard.
Did we
and
get
I
a
was like,
photograph of this?
I can't keep my arm in the air. I'm unfit. So yeah, didn't need that. And in the end, I got involved because I can't help but get involved. Did a bit of coaching, and we got him there in the end, and he was happy with the results, because we hope that we can get you to that point where actually you're happy with what you're saying, and we're happy as well, because we want to put the content out there that's really good that will work for you.
Yeah, I think just the final message on this subject is that if you've done your speech or your TV appearance and you've been yourself, and that's what has obviously captivated somebody enough to actually come along and find out more about you, just be yourself. You can take good things from other people's podcasts, and watching other people's podcasts, you think, well, I like that or I don't like that, but ultimately it's your podcast. Make it yours and be you on it, and that's what actually engages people and makes them actually realise who you are.
And if you want to test yourself out on a bit of video content, obviously everyone's doing it on their phones and trying to get on LinkedIn and talking into camera or whatever. It's a good test anyway to at least talk to an inanimate object. Hopefully it's a camera, but just stick it on the other side of the room. Don't have to have it at arm's length. Just be confident in being yourself, and that you can make eye contact with someone on the other side of the room. Eye contact with James here, eye contact with you, or you guys down that lens there. It's a very simple, it's what makes a TV presenter. So if you want to be on video, you might want to do that down the barrel thing. However, there is something to be said. We've mentioned this before, haven't we? Where you're talking off camera, just concentrate on that as well. Have that conversation. If you can just be you, it's going to make so much more of a difference.
One of the things you did when we had one of our clients in was actually put a little face on the camera, wasn't it?
I did do a face on the camera.
Because the camera's there, it's got a bit of a glass lens on it. You all know what a camera looks like. And it can be a bit intimidating, because you think, oh, that's staring at me, that's recording me, I don't like this. But if you actually just think of that as being your best mate or your mum or something like that, who's somebody that you feel comfortable
Hello,
with,
Mum.
then you're just talking to one person. You're talking to somebody there who you like, who likes you, and you're having a nice time.
I'm going to finish with one last thing, because that triangle of you guys over there who can't say anything, and us two here who can talk to each other, and we're trying to talk to you at the same time. We've got different roles normally in a podcast. As an interviewer, presenter, I will be coming across this hopefully with you in mind. So if you're presenting your podcast, I've got to think, what are the audience thinking of asking next? What are they interested about? I've got what I'm interested about, because I know I've got to get the best out of James, who's my interviewee.
That's a tough job.
It's like blood out of a stone. But to get, for James to actually, James has the other side of the triangle, which is, if this was a dinner party where I knew what James had to sell, and I knew that you guys, a friend of mine, just an acquaintance, we're all friends, but if you've come over and I go, James can help you out, and I think I can make this work. That's my job. So that part of the conversation is really important. You've got to get your message right, which means being nice, not being robotic to the other person in the room, because they'll look at you and go, oh, strange dinner party guest. And I'm here going,
they're probably thinking that anyway.
yeah, but I'm here going, well, I thought this would work. So I've got this pressure on me as well. There is pressure on that triangle, but if it all works out, you have, hopefully, a nice little sales meeting with a canapé or two, maybe a glass of something bubbly.
Bit of a prawn vol au vent.
Give it a go. So that's what's in my mind when we're talking about this kind of thing. But it's got to be relaxed. It's got to be, it's not this, you are making a statement and this is what we are going to do and you must buy our product right now. It won't work. People don't like being hectored, do they?
No. And the best salespeople that you come across are people who are just normal people, nice people, who obviously believe in their product. And
You met salespeople.
And enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
They can get a bit annoying when you go into a shop and they're straight in your face immediately. But I think generally speaking, if you are a marketeer or a salesperson and you believe in your project, you love your product and you are enthusiastic about it, that rubs off.
It does. So if you want your video content creating, make sure Yorkshire Podcast Studios is the first place to come and have a look round, come and have a brew. James will make you a coffee or a tea, or cold drinks if you're one of those people that doesn't like hot drinks. Wary of them.
It's summer. Cold drinks are probably in vogue now.
Hot cup of tea, cool you down.
True.
Come along to Yorkshire Podcast Studios.
You never
Eventually,
quite-
you've got to do the sales pitch.
Sometimes you never quite know where a podcast is going to go.
No, you never do. The Biscuit podcast. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Next time.
Next time. Although the one about sauces I thought was good. The Condiment Pod. Friend of mine had. Right, I'm going to leave that there because we're waffling. And the great thing about podcasts is you can just go, cut.
Turn the party up.